Okay, let's
Here we
get
go.
started. Yay! Hi, Wendy. It is so lovely to be able to catch up and have a chat with you about the upcoming federal elections, getting very, very close now. Um,
Tomorrow.
so, how are you feeling about it all? Tell me a little bit about you personally, your background, how you, I'm going to say, were convinced, or what made you passionate enough to put your hand up to be part of the wild political ride that elections
Mm,
are.
yeah. Okay. Okay. So, as you know, I live in Emerald Beach. Some people weren't quite sure whether that was in Page, but it is. It's down the southern end. Um, and Page is a huge electorate. But anyway, so I've been in Emerald Beach for 4 years now, permanently. But Emerald Beach is where me and my family have holidayed ever since our early 20s. So it's a very special place, and it's where we decided to settle once we'd done all our traveling and working and things that you do with family. So yes, yeah. But
Oh,
Emerald
wonderful.
Beach is a very special place,
Oh,
as you
isn't it
would know,
just?
Tegan.
Yes, it is, mate. I'm completely biased. I will admit it, but I just think we live in the best place in the entire world. It is so beautiful and special here.
Oh yeah, and the whales are starting to come
Oh, that makes it even better.
already. Do you know? I was talking to a neighbour
Yeah.
who, when they first came to Emerald Beach, like over 40 years ago, they said you were lucky to see one whale going past. And
Wow.
whereas now, like you go up on the headland and it's just amazing. So, I mean, we hear so much. I'm very passionate about the environment and, as you know, climate change, emergency services, all that. But it's really nice that the conservation movement did something about the whales, and to hear that from a neighbour was just amazing. Imagine just seeing one whale. Like,
I know, and you know what? There can be so much, doomsday and negativity and
yeah,
all of those things, but to
yep,
hear the actual real life, like anecdotal stories of that some of the good is actually making a difference. Yeah, I think
yeah.
they're the ones that mean the
And we
most.
really have a special community here because if you look at the history of Emerald Beach, they fought to stop the sewage outfall back in the 90s. It was a huge battle. And yeah, people that are really passionate about where they live. So I feel very lucky to live here, Tegan. Um,
Yes.
so about me, as you know, I'm a nurse, a registered nurse, but retired now. I've worked in lots of health settings, mostly rural, regional. That is my passion. Women's health. I did a lot of women's health, and I volunteered for years in a women's health centre on their management committee because I also have, I studied business. I have a Bachelor of Business as well. And so I sort of used those skills in NGOs. Yeah. Then I went into public service, Commonwealth, and I worked in rural health and aged care and Aboriginal health, which, yeah, really, I had a fabulous career. Yeah. So very passionate about public services. I've always been passionate about emergency services and disaster management from when I trained years and years ago. And we had a tutor who had been in the Vietnam War. She sort of inspired us with emergency stuff. And then when I was at Hill End, I set up a local incident management team there. And then when we retired here, I decided to join the SES. So that's what I do now. Apart from
Yes.
Labor Party, I'm a secretary of the Labor branch, the local Labor branch. So I'm very engaged in the Labor movement. I've always been a union rep and advocated for people and the community issues. But yeah, that's what I do with my time, apart from gardening and swimming. And
No,
my three grandkids who are in Sydney. I have two boys. They both live in Sydney. You know, I try and convince them to come and live here, but their work keeps them there at the moment.
oh,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So
I'm sure
that's about me in a nutshell.
that's amazing. I love hearing people's backgrounds, and I think it's so interesting to hear, all of the different iterations and things that people are passionate about, and how their career and life unfolds, and then how that leads them to want to give back and get involved in, I guess, public life or community leadership. And so I guess that has, all of the things that you have done. And it does seem to be that, a lot of healthcare or public service workers are like, okay, put me in, coach. I want to have a go at shaping how this works. So
Yeah.
how did you come to be the Labor candidate for Page?
They asked me to do it. A lot
They
of
saw
people
something
asked
in
me to
you.
do it.
Nice.
I
And
never,
what
I
made you
never
say
thought I
yes?
would do something like this, Tegan.
I know that feeling.
I do a lot of campaigning for things I'm passionate about. You know, I've been involved in lots of campaigns to improve things that I think needed improving, but always in the background.
And now
I'm
up
getting
front.
used to having my photo out there. I had a
Oh, yeah.
lovely photographer in Lismore who took us up to a lookout and took some photos. And yeah, but I'm getting used to it. It's a different type of role, and I'm really enjoying it actually.
That's so good. And look,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know how weird it feels to drive past your own face every day. I've been there. Yeah, I think the thing that
Yes.
helped me was just saying hello to myself and just being like,
Yeah,
it's
I
okay.
know. Oh, there I am again. Anyway, but look, I love meeting people. I've met so many fabulous people, and yeah,
There's some
listening,
pretty special
hearing
parts
their
of it.
stories. We like Paige is so diverse that it's just the communities. They're all different, all unique, and fascinating. Yeah.
Yes,
So.
and you know what? You're being a bit of a mind reader then, because that's exactly what I was just thinking. You spoke before about, some of the community activism and how Emerald Beach, have gotten together as a community to be passionate and to make change in things that they care about. And I think that is something that is quite unique, not just to Emerald Beach or even our Coffs Harbour LGA, but it seems like it's the Page electorate. We are made up, and look, it could happen everywhere, but to me, I just feel from what I have seen, we have such, as you just said, very unique and passionate communities all across this electorate that they are all so diverse and different, but they care so much about what happens to them. And I think you yourself coming from a community that is so engaged and stands up for what it believes in. So, how do you think that transfers, or what do you bring to the potential federal leadership that you could transfer across that whole LGA, or what are you looking forward to being able to help each individual community with, given your background?
Mm, well, uh, I think I'm really good at bringing people together and listening and also understanding how government works. So you can work out like how you can help people to come up with solutions, that fit them and fit their community. I think that's really important. I do think Labor has a lot of good policies that would work in Page really well with communities. A lot of people don't even know about them. They people are busy with their lives. Like, life is pretty tough, and people don't have a lot of time. You
Mm.
know that. You're
Yeah.
in that real busy time with your kids and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think there's a lot that we could do in this, and a lot we need to do, Tegan, because we have, like, we're in the lowest 5% median income in Page. It really needs some regional development to build the economy in a way that's sustainable. And also, as you know, like with recent tropical cyclone Alfred, or X as they call it, yeah, I just work here. I've been up in Lismore a fair bit, and honestly, you can the pain and trauma is palpable in the community. It's really hard. Recovery is really hard. And but amazing people. They are just doing amazing things to recover there.
Mm.
And that needs to be built on with our emergency services and with our recovery,
Oh, 100%.
programs. But
Yes.
that's a huge learning curve as well. Like, um, yeah, there's a lot of learning to happen from that. So yeah, it's I think it's really important to look after everybody, and
Mm.
that there's a fair and just um, transition, if you like. I mean, one of my other passions is, and I think it's a stark contrast in this election, is between renewables and nuclear.
Oh,
haven't,
yeah.
I haven't, nobody's telling me they want nuclear in Page.
No,
So,
yep, look, I've had this discussion recently as well, but actually let's park
oh
that
yeah,
bit
yep.
because I love what you just said about communities recovery and resilience. So I just would love to chat a little bit more with
Mm,
you about that because your response was brilliant there. And I think that that is something that people do want to hear because often you have people coming in or leaders, services, organizations, politicians, whoever, layer coming into communities telling them what they need after when a disaster strikes. One of the biggest things that I have witnessed is that first 24 to 48 hours is an absolute, sorry for want of a better word, shit show because everyone is scrambling and no one actually takes the lead in that space. And what you said around, you feel that your role is to listen and that you understand that it is the communities that need to build that resilience. And I think that that is something that is just so valuable because when it's not something that can be led by governments, it's connected communities when you allow a space for
mm,
those communities themselves to tell the people with the resources
yep.
what they need and how they would like that to happen. And it does go all the way back to that real connection and individual like phone trees and all of that stuff that has to be led by a community. And I think Lismore, the there's like some of the predictions is that that town will not recover for another 20 plus years to its full capacity when I say this, I'm not coming from a place of blame or judgment because I've been in local government as well, but I just think that there's so much disconnect or red tape that exists in government land that actually prevents communities from getting what they need. And the way you spoke just then really resonated with me in a way that we can kind of work around that. And I think that that is so important to have people in positions of power that have that understanding. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that I really loved the way you answered
Mm.
that question, and it showed
Well,
a lot of
it's
understanding.
really, really complex, and the more people I talk to, the better your understanding, of it becomes.
Mm,
But it is complex, and it is It's very difficult. And when resources and decisions have to be made, it's how that's done often,
Mm.
And I mean, they're sort of currently waiting on a report, to look at all that stuff that's will guide the recovery further and where they need to go. So yeah, it's going to be it is just really, really, really difficult, Tegan.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
but
And
but I just think from what I heard of just, I mean, we've been through a campaign, and in the middle of that, we had Alfred,
mm,
um, and I really, what has overwhelmingly come to me from people was just how prepared there was that much greater preparedness,
mm.
which is, I mean, that's fantastic, I think. That
Yes.
you can't
Yeah,
have
no,
enough
I
of that.
agree. I think, yeah, I think, it's interesting, isn't it, that, I think we went through a period where, we had the fires and stuff, and then in some cases, some of the warnings and stuff went above and beyond, which to me is not a bad thing ever. Um, and so then people got a bit complacent, and then, we started to have floods and storms and things like that. And
Mm,
then people went, oh, right, no, we do need to take this seriously. So I think that it's
mm,
good that it's in bits and pieces. And it's so now I guess I feel for our region, we're in a place where our lead up, our preparation, because if you go all the way back to even the Corindi flash flooding that happened,
mm,
anniversary, like 1 year apart, crazy to the day, where those warning texts and things like that were still not happening. So, I think that at least we can say, cool, we've gotten that in place. And now, it's the recovery effort, as you said, which is so complex and so multifaceted, that's, the next thing that we're then working through, and lead agencies and all of that. And you said you're part of SES, and I just joined the SES as well. And
yeah.
it's really, really um eye-opening to see, for a volunteer organization, just it is precise. Like it is, I am incredibly
Mm,
impressed, that we have a national organization that has that many dedicated volunteers and that level of professionalism and service available to it. It's a bit concerning that we are relying so heavily on volunteers for something of that nature, and that they are in often cases sometimes more well resourced than some of our paid first responders. But yeah, it's, I think that says a lot about the culture and ideals of Australians in general, is that, we do get that we're a land of extremes, and that we're there to, be there for one another and support one another. And I guess this has just turned into a question. One of the other
question.
questions, yeah, one of the other questions that I've been asking people is,
Yeah.
so, bringing us all together, and often we do have different opinions and perspectives and beliefs on things, but just like in the community, we need to be able to work together. Politics is like that on steroids. So, how do you feel if you become our federal MP for Page? What's your position on being able to talk to people? How are you going to work together to get the right things for our community and our country at large, if they have different beliefs, or if they follow a different party? How how do you feel that we can improve the way that our politicians collaborate?
How do we come? Well, it's about working together, really, Tegan. I mean, and it's all levels of government too, like so often when I speak to people, they'll be talking to me about local government or state government, and it's how those levels, I mean, you need to understand how they work. But and then it's also about the basics that need to be there to build on. with community, you know. Um, it, it- and again, it is complex. I've had conversations with mayors,
Mm.
you know, who've and they're seeking funding from state government or federal government. So you've got to understand the issues from the people. I mean, and that's not about politics. That's about being a representative for the whole community. And some of our communities are really, really struggling. And to me, that's always been my passion, that everybody, the people who are doing it the toughest, that we ensure that they can, get the opportunities that the rest of us have. Um, so I think in terms of, we need a lot of social housing. We have to get the housing issue addressed here. It really is
Mm.
terrible.
Yeah.
And social housing to me is really important there, as well as, all the others are important as well. But um, we don't want to end up like America, do we? With the homeless
Mm.
situation. And the only way we can do that is to build. And so, and then that's going to have issues, isn't it, with local communities, about what sort of buildings and how we look after the
Know
needs of
about that?
everybody.
Yes.
That's about having good data and information and having good mechanisms to engage with the community so that they do feel heard and that their considerations are factored into what the solutions are. Yeah,
Yes, amazing, amazing. I have really enjoyed doing this with you. I know that you need to get to Grafton and that
I know, I
you
do.
are flat out. Is there anything else that you would like to tell all of us? Anything else, that you feel is really, really important for the people of Page to consider if they haven't already voted? Although I do feel that there's still a large majority for our electorate, given that, well, especially down this end, given that they've had to go to Cowper to vote. So I do feel we're going to see
Yeah, I've been
quite,
down to
yeah.
pre-poll down there a couple of times now, and there's been quite a few Page people coming through.
Well, that's good.
But yes, I'll get back to the nuclear stuff, Tegan,
Yes,
because
sorry. Yeah, please, please. Yeah, I'd actually
nobody
love to
is
hear that.
saying
Yeah.
to me that they're keen about nuclear. We don't know how much it will cost, but we do know it will mean cuts to services. And um, I think the people in Page, 50% of our houses have got solar,
Mm.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
there are so many things that we need here in Page, but their people understand it. So I think they will. I hope they will vote for a renewable future, which is what I want to see. Yeah,
Yes, I know. Do you know, it's so funny. In some of the conversations I've had, I've heard some renewable energy options that I had was not even aware of. But one of the things that I've always was quite disappointed to see that it fell over in our area. It was actually I think I can't think what the company name was, but it was an initiative that actually came out of Lismore, and it was around solar power, but with smaller battery cells
hmm.
for individual grids in communities. And I just thought that was the most brilliant thing that I had ever heard. And I think, unfortunately, that company is no longer in existence. But I just think, it comes full circle all the way back to what we were talking about at the start. We have such innovative and individual
Hmm.
communities who have great ideas and initiatives, and it doesn't have to be a one size fits all. So yeah, I think you're for me, you're on the money with the whole renewables over nuclear as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
personal
Well,
perspective.
community batteries are. I don't think we've got any here, but maybe we could have,
I
Tegan. you know?
I'm down. If that becomes a community project, I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. I love your perspective, and I'm sure you have had when you've been able to, given that you've been unwell, to be out there with the
Yeah,
community and
yeah.
having those conversations.
Yeah.
And so,
Thank
all
you,
the best.
Tegan. Yeah. That was fun.
It was.